Hey guys, this is a tutorial on how to make face shields so you can donate them to doctors and hospitals nearby. So starting off with some of the supply and materials that you will need to construct this. You will need these 3/4 inch plastic hanger straps. You also need these 4-inch cable ties, clear binding sheets, and medium-sized hair ties. If you have elastic, you can also use elastic. And then for some of the tools, you'll need scissors, a singular hole puncher, and a marker. Okay, so the very first step is you're gonna make sure you wanna wash everything, disinfect everything, and wash your hands. You want everything to be as clean as possible. And then you're gonna take these hanger straps and you're gonna cut 2 strips of 22 holes. So you count the 22 holes and you cut 2 strips. Okay, so after you've cut the 2 strips of the 22 holes, you're going to determine an outer strip and an inner strip, and then you're going to need 2 of the 4-inch cable ties. You're going to align it so that the first hole in the outer strip aligns with the 4th hole of the inner strip. You're then going to want to pass a cable tie through, like so, and you want to make sure that the smooth bit of the cable tie is showing on the outside, that way it doesn't irritate the person's head. You're then going to pass the cable tie back through the 2nd hole of the outer and the 5th hole of the inner. And then you tighten the cable tie like so. And then you do the same on the other side, that way it creates a little divider. 1st and 4th, 2nd and 5th. Also, another thing I forgot to mention, this is optional, you don't have to do this, but I also like to kind of cut the corners of the inner strip. That way it's not as sharp and doesn't irritate any of the doctors. So once you've got the 2 cable ties in, you're going to want to take a hair tie and you're going to want to cut it in half. I found that it's actually easier to cut it where the fuse is, and you're going to try and pass it through the hole. If you can't pass it through the hole because the hole's a little too thin, you can use scissors to widen the hole. When you eventually pass it through, you're going to need to tie a knot on the end. So to tie a knot on the end, what you do is you have a little loop. You then want to pull this end around and through the loop so it has a knot. And then you want to pull tightly to tighten the knot. And then you do the same on the other side. So for the next step, you're going to want to cut a strip with 15 holes, and you're going to need to grab a binding sheet. You're then going to align it at the top, and you want the first hole to be slightly off the sheet but also slightly on it. With the marker, you're going to mark the 2nd and 3rd hole, and you're going to mark the 6th and 7th hole, and then you mark the 10th and 11th, and then you mark 14 and 15. And then with these marked holes, you're then going to take your hole puncher and punch a hole each dot you've marked. So now what you're going to need is you're going to need the headset, the clear sheet, and 4 cable ties. The clear sheet now has the hole punched holes, and you're going to want to align it with the 3rd hole after the cable tie. So that's the cable tie, you skip 2 holes and you align the 3rd hole, and then you align it all the way around. So that way you have a face shield. Now you're going to take the 1st cable tie, and you want the smooth bit to be on the outside of the mask. So you pass it through the hole, and you don't tighten it yet till you put the other 3 on, because you might need a little wiggle room. So don't tighten it yet. You then go on and align the next 2 holes, and you pass the cable tie through those 2 holes. Again, with the smooth side of the cable tie on the outside. Also, just a troubleshooting tip for you guys. If you have like 1 or 2 holes that don't happen to line up, instead of just throwing the sheet away, and wasting materials, what you can do is you just take your hole puncher like so and just hole punch it where that one hole should be. And then you can pass the zip ties through. And once you pass all the zip ties through, you can then tighten all the zip ties. And there is your finalized piece of the face shield.